Hello guys, it's Galactic here, and in today's video we're going to talk a little bit about Zaalbar's Omicron, specifically in 3v3. What I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll make another video in around about a month's time, and we'll actually cover it for 5v5. However, the Omicron works so differently for 3v3 that I just wanted to take a couple of minutes to kind of talk you guys through it. So if you're someone like myself who has actually gone and applied the Omicron, then you're going to have some fun, guys. There's actually two teams that I'm going to be suggesting to run here. The first would just be the Darth Revan team itself, and the second would be for those of you that still want to mix up your Grand Arena defense on occasions, and you actually want to run Tarful, because Tarful, Zaalbar, and either Vet Chewie or Vandal Chewie would also be very... not Vandal, sorry, Vet Chewie or Clone Wars Chewie would also be very, very nice. So before we talk about the Wookiees, let's talk about Darth Revan. Alright, so guys, in terms of the Omicron, it's going to be making the entire team Sith Empire. It's going to be giving you immunity to critical hits. This is because of the guard buff that you gain. It's going to make missions share her stats, and on top of that, it's going to make Darth Revan assist Zaalbar whenever Zaalbar uses any ability. Right, so that's pretty cool. It does mean you probably will have to remod to get the maximum potential from the team. You probably still can do a lot without remodding, but I would say it's probably still worth remodding if you have the option to. Now, the other part of the Omicron that we'll be applying is the top stack, or top section, which is Zaalbar gains Taunt and Retribution, and whenever he loses Taunt, he gains Retribution. And whenever he attacks out of turn, inflicts damage over times, which can't be evaded or resisted, and enemies can't gain defense up or stealth. Right, so that's why you kind of want to run Darth Revan. If you're wondering about why you would run Wookiees, it's because one of the biggest counters to Wookiees is Bad Batch in terms of cheapness, and yeah, guys, you can just remove that completely by if you use the Wookiees, because no one can stealth, which makes it really, really nice for getting around them, basically preventing one of the main counters. So it can force other teams. I'm not saying that you should run this, I'm just saying there is the possibility that this could also be a good defensive team, just to mix up. So in terms of defensive teams in general, I'm kind of mixed on this one. Obviously, there's massive potential for this to be a good defensive team. However, guys, you were literally limited to one hold. Now, some of you will think this is a really, really good idea or team or quality in a team, that you're guaranteed one hold. I wouldn't say guaranteed, because there will be one-shot teams. But for the most part, you're guaranteed one hold. But other than that one hold, guys, you know, it's very, very unlikely that you're going to get more than one. Because Mission's sharing the stats, but she's also dying on the very first turn. And once the battle's over, they're going to go back to reduced stats. And I just don't really see it, guys. The other team, the Tarful version, this one could be better defensively in certain situations, because if you know your opponent isn't going to have locked on counters, and the other counters other than Bad Batch tend to be used elsewhere. You've got Imperial Troopers, but that can be shut down with a fast-ish Tarful, combined with the TM Cron in the current set. Because Tarful does gain a lot of speed as well in his kit. You obviously already shut down Bad Batch, and then General Skywalker is also a very good counter, but again, he's just too high investment, I would say. So yeah, if you're looking at a team to kind of hold against those mid-tier teams, I think Tarful will actually be underrated. I'll be doing an actual video on Wookiees at some point, because I know not many people use them or rate them. I still think they're a very good team, and I actually think the Zaalbar Omicron does benefit them massively. More so in 5s than 3s, but still. So going back to the Darth Revan version, with the full use of the Omicron, as I said, my issue is you're basically locking yourself into one hold and one hold only. This is obviously people in Kyber and above. If you're low GP, then there's a chance if you face an R9 Darth Revan, even if it's preloaded or whatever, you might not be able to kill it, and I understand that. But for the people in Kyber, in Aurodium, maybe Chromium, who knows, you're locking yourself into one defensive hold. So you make that as you will. Now, there are a lot of people that say, what about efficiency and how, banners and all of this, one-drop battles a win? Yeah, I would agree for the most part. For a lot of people, that is the case. But then, I can't really remember the last time I had battles where it was one drop either side. Normally, if you're changing your defenses and you set good teams, the chances are you're going to have more than one drop at any given point. Also, just bear in mind, guys, a lot of people are just dropping on exec in order to one shot or two shot, sorry, but one shot the two shot, if that makes sense, with the Radis fleet. So people are already doing it, so I don't know, it's a weird one. In terms of what you can use, obviously what I'm assuming 99% of people are going to do, if you take a GL win, I think you're absolutely crazy, unless you're, you have enough GLs in offense and there's nothing else to use and you do it last, okay. But GLs tend to go on other teams, I don't know. I can see people using Qui-Gon. I reckon Qui-Gon will be one of the best one-shots you can use with this team. And then on the opposite side of the spectrum, I can just see people just taking in, the lowest gear character they can find. So for example, if I went to my roster, I could see someone taking in the likes of, just like a gear 1 patch or a gear 1 Hoyang or someone like that, just to use up the sacrifice, get that out of the way, and then go in and clean up easily. In terms of other teams that probably could one shot, sorry. Right, so the Omicron doesn't have immunity to days on 3v3. It does on 5s, but not on 3s. So I can see dash teams, especially dash with the current dash cron with the bonus turns. So for example, I can see dash, Vandor, and dash, Vandor, and Hondo doing something, because you can apply that captive buff. You would have to kind of juggle around the death mark, but again, guys, whenever anyone is stunned, dash is taking that bonus turn. So I can see you kind of getting around it, because you can put captive on Zaalbar, and then you can kind of start working on them, because it's going to completely shut down the team. Whether or not that works or not, I don't know. We'll see. Potentially Afra could do something, especially again with the BT1 Cron, because Afra with the Cron, where is she? The BT1 Cron's here. So you have the damage immunity on the droids that will come into play. You have the TM gain on your side. You have the fact that you get inflict armor shreds and exposes, which is really nice. And on top of that, guys, Afra is going to be pushing back cooldowns, and she also has some other fun stuff in there herself. The main issue you're going to face from an offensive point of view versus this team is if and when you get death marked, and it's just how you deal with that. So I'd say if you know you're going to use a specific team to counter this, make sure they're modded for protection over health, because that might be the difference between living or dying. Obviously, the offense is just going to be so high as it is. I think the most common counter will be Qui-Gon, right? So that's kind of the defensive viability, either two-shot it or use something to one-shot. And down the line, guys, you're going to find loads of different teams to be able to do this with. So now we know the teams, what can use it for offense? Well, guys, apart from Galactic Legends, it should beat more or less every single team. So if you're wondering where my thought process is going with this, I will be running this against Queen Amidala in my streams, or in a stream this week. I'm going to try and test a variety of teams. And I think that's where it will be best to use. You can't use it against a Galactic Legend. Offensively, defensively, as soon as it's a GL, the Omicron is not going to be activating in full. And Queen Amidala, I think this works really well, because you have the forced death mark, you have high offense, you can get through the Handmaiden, and on top of that, guys, you have the immunity to stealth. So the second the Handmaiden's out, you can go kill Padawan Obi-Wan straight away. You don't even need to worry about hitting Qui-Gon, hitting Queen Amidala. You can hit whoever you want. There's no issues, there's no restrictions in play there. So that's where I think the height of the Omicron on offense is going to be. So in terms of the modding, guys, I have remodded for this. You don't need to have as much speed as I've got here. This is also an offense set. I got a broken set because honestly, it's mainly I just rolled this one, guys. I got this mod here, and I just don't really have someone to put it on at the moment. So I thought, why not just put it on Darth Revan? So I've modded him for offense with the crit damage primary, offense on the cross. You can go offense on the arrow, but I wouldn't sacrifice too much speed. I would say if you can get him 300 to 315, you're pretty good here, guys. And then just go for as much offense as possible. Don't necessarily worry about the set, but if you do want to go for something, then a health set would be quite nice on there as well. Zaalbar, I'll be honest, guys, I have not remodded at all. That's because I'm going to be interchanging him with my Wookiees, so I've modded him as if I'm going to use him with Wookiees. Because let's be honest, guys, in the team, Darth Revan's the one who's dealing the damage, not Zaalbar. Zaalbar can deal damage, don't get me wrong, but Darth Revan assisting is the one who's going to be killing off the enemy team. So that's why I just left his mods as they are. I've got him modded defense primaries. Yeah, I've just got him modded for a Zaalbar team here. And then we've got Mission, who I just need the 6 dot, and I also need to change just this one primary. I've somehow run out of offense mods. So I'm going to be modding her for an offense and potency set. I am debating keeping the current set here with the potency primary, just because she does need a little bit of potency in general. She has dazes and everything else on there. And she also has blind she can inflict. And the real benefit to having her mod with a little bit of potency is I want to get her Datacron, which I will be talking about in a second. Not her specifically, but Datacrons for the team. And her Datacron, guys, deals bonus damage equal to her potency. Which if I go down and find her here... where are you? There we go, Mission. Whenever Mission uses an ability, they deal back more damage equal to up to 100% of her potency percentage. This effect will only trigger if she has more than 0% potency. So modding her for a little bit of potency could actually be quite nice, and that's why I've got her with the potency cross. But I am debating changing that to a offense at some point. Obviously, you do want a 6 dot mods, you do want to do all of that as well to make a bit of a difference. Now, the next thing, guys, is don't be afraid to relic up Mission. Zaalbar, you can probably leave low relic, low gear, whatever. Relic 3, relic 5. Mission, on the other hand, if you can, I would bump her up because she's stat sharing. So those higher relics are going to be giving more offense, and giving more crit chance or crit damage, whatever, you name it. Actually, what is on her mastery? It is crit damage, there you go. So yeah, relicking her up could be quite nice for that reason. But just remember, guys, in 3 she is going to be dying straight away. So in terms of the speeds, obviously I already mentioned Darth Revan, 300 to 315 minimum. You really don't need him to have the speed set, guys. And in a Malgus team in 5v5, he's great with speed, but you can also get away from being a little bit slower and high offense. It does actually change some counters there itself. Zaalbar, I would not even worry about. If you can get him to 220 speed, just a plus 100, you're fine. Mission, yeah. If you can get her to about 250, I think you're in a good spot. Now, mine's only 227, but with the 6 dot mods, and I think there's one, it was this one, right? No, this mod is not very good. So if I could change, the mods up a little bit, I could very easily hit the 250 goal myself. Because remember, she's giving those speeds. So as long as you can get to about 250, and Darth Revan's around about 300 to 315, you're looking at about 550 Darth Revan, and not including TM crons of any description. So that's kind of how I would mod the team. That's what I'd use on defense, offense, everything. It looks like a very, very good team. Just don't expect it to be that team that gets 5, 6, 7 holds. And also don't be surprised if if you're someone and this is your big team, that your A tier team that you're setting on defense to try and win a GAC, just bear in mind you're most likely only ever going to get 1 hold. So I'm kind of leaning more towards using it on offense because I think it's just going to kill everything. So we'll see. Anyways, guys, if you enjoyed the video, please like, comment, subscribe. My name is Glurmit, and as always, guys, have a glurming day.